Hey guys, Rob from Georgia here with you, aka VHS82 apostrophe. Welcome to 31 Days of Horror. We're here, man. It's Christmas time. It's Halloween. And I must say, it sucks that it's on a Tuesday. I hate it when this stuff happens like this. It really does limit what you can and can't do, unfortunately. But we're here, Halloween. We're here. But tomorrow for the horror movie enthusiast, our love of horror continues. And Eli Roth's Thanksgiving is coming down the pike. I can't wait. I just saw House of a Thousand Corpses on the big screen. And how do you not issue tickets when it's a 20th anniversary showing of a cult favorite movie like that? Everything is just digital these days. I just don't understand. And so I don't have a ticket stub to put in my film. But it was great seeing it on the big screen. It was pretty intense. And I've seen this one on the big screen as well. There's my ticket for that. That was an amazing showing. But what makes this one Halloween, of course, happy Halloween, right? I figured, go with the original. It's been with me. I'm 53, so I'm 78. I remember when this movie first came out. I didn't see it or anything like that at 8, but I do remember its first run on TV and not having any clue at that age that it was, a TV version, which was slightly different than the theatrical cut. But I wouldn't have seen it immediately. I would have seen it I remember when I had the chicken pox. I was young. I must have been 9 or 10 years old. I had the chicken pox. It was on TV. I could hear the music, this music. I could hear it. And I would make up any excuse possible to leave the confines of my room. It was at night, of course, and be able to sneak a peek at what I heard on coming from the TV. And eventually HBO came around, and eventually the HBO book landed in our mailbox, and eventually came October, and this had a major, maybe the cover, I think, of the HBO book. And at some point, I finally got to see it, and it did not disappoint at all. In fact, seeing it on the big screen was one of the most amazing experiences of seeing a throwback film on the big screen. It just, it's like that with some of these movies. House of a Thousand Corpses was absolutely amazing. It was almost nauseating in the sense that I was not ready for the cinematography to grab me the way it did in the use of the camera and everything. That is not seen well as far as a TV. But when you see it on the big screen, it's felt way more. I wasn't ready for that, but seeing zombie on the big screen, seeing sometimes movies just have that. We saw The Goonies not that long on the big screen, and it was like, okay, it was fun. It was fun, but okay. Sometimes, I don't know. Sometimes movies do have a larger than life appeal when you finally get to see it, even though you've seen it a million times. Seen this a million times, but I saw it last night for the first time. In black and white. Pretty sure it was the first time. This movie is absolutely fantastic in black and white. And with the new 4K TVs the way they are, it's so easy to go in there and just remove out the color, tone down the contrast, or up the contrast, however you like. Just play around with it, varying levels. But the shadows, just how everything was played out. I'm trying to think standout moments. In the thunderstorm at the beginning when they're going to pick up Michael Myers, that whole scene works so much better. I actually was watching the TV footage after, and that whole scene with Loomis there at the board meeting, that works so much better in black and white. A lot of the scenes, especially at night, him coming out of the shadows, if you're not into black and white, watching things in black and white that are normally in color, you ought to give it a shot. I know like Dawn of the Dead is so epic in black and white. Alien 3 is pretty epic. A Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original 74, is absolutely epic in black and white. me and Glenn actually are our Tuesday reviewer or Monday reviewer. I'm sorry, Monday reviewer. Me and him actually had a series going on where we were doing commentaries to films in black and white. I'd find that on his channel. I may just drop the link down there below. BDG reviews there. And so I'm trying to think of some of the other ones that worked out really, really well. I mean, there's, not everything works perfectly. But this worked pretty good for me last night, man. In a black room, no lights, and then you have it in black and white. Yeah, when Laurie's looking out the window and sees him down there amongst the hanging linen, and the end finale, as Loomis approaches the edge, looking down and seeing nothing on the ground, and Laurie crying up, beginning to cry up a storm. Halloween, man, it's just been with us forever. This is a staple. And what's amazing about this, when you listen to Bob Clark's commentary on Black Christmas, he tells a story. I'll just say it in short. Carpenter, called on him, wondering if he was going to do a sequel to Black Christmas, and he wasn't. And this kind of stuff went back and forth a few times, and then finally, Bob Clark's like, "I'm not doing a sequel," and he's like, "Okay." And so this becomes the genesis point, conceptually, that stems out of conversation Bob Clark and John Carpenter had in terms of what Bob Clark would have done. I guess he would have had our nemesis of Black Christmas would have been apprehended, locked away in an insane asylum for a length of time, and then broke out, and then arbitrarily just picked some locale to attack. And so this really does, become the genesis point for Halloween. And so, I guess we have a lot to thank in Bob Clark's, and maybe one of the greatest horror films, next to a few, right? What Bob Clark did for Christmas, he obviously did with Halloween. But the two films do share some interesting qualities. Relationally, it's interesting. So here we go. I don't know what can you say about I'll say this. One of the appreciative moments of David Gordon Green's trilogy was the flashback scenes. Going back to that night, had its interesting moments. I thought that was that was really, I think, a standout of the trilogy. It's not the only one, but as a trilogy as a whole, those films, I mean, there are other places I'll go into in canon before I go into that trilogy. Now, I own the trilogy. I have the trilogy, as you guys know. It is the canon. I'm not going to not have the canon. The only problem is, now that the rights have been sold in TV rights, I fear this stuff is going to go streaming. They're going to create a whole new thing, and it's going to be like some of this stuff today. Your only access point will be the streaming platform, and that is freaking ridiculous. It shouldn't be like that. I can easily envision some streaming platform getting this, and new Halloween concepts, never seeing it on physical media unless you bootleg it. And my great fear is they'll create a world via TV and then jump off into into a theatrical run of something new, which if you didn't have the streaming platform, you totally missed out and have no idea what they're doing. And it's just, I don't know. Halloween doesn't belong on TV. And the only reason I'm giving Friday the 13th any bit of chance, the Peacock original that's coming down the pike, is it's supposedly set back in the 50s, in a time that we are so unfamiliar with in terms of Friday the 13th canon, except for what comes through in conversation, right? I think that could work. But generally, I don't know. Halloween does not belong on the TV. It belongs on the big screen. So we'll see what the future holds. If all else fails, I'll have a bootleg copy. Are you listening to me, Glenn? We'll have bootlegs of whatever is coming down the pike. So enjoy your Halloween. I'm going to just go ahead and wrap up. Enjoy your Halloween. I hope you enjoyed my 31 Days of Horror. It's the first time ever. I completed it. It's done. Signed, sealed, and delivered, I guess. And I've already got ideas for next year. I'm thinking maybe a a Scream Factory, 31 Days of Horror. I don't know, something like that. Something more thematic. Something that, instead of just somewhat hopping around a little bit. But these have been some of my favorite directors. I know I sort of veered off from that a little bit here and there, but ultimately in the end, it's been fun. It's been a blast. It's been a great 31 days. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad now it is finally in my channel, my first one, and next year it'll be 31 Days of Horror 2. However and whatever I decide to do at that point. We got a long ways to go. We just got to get through the rest of today, right? So happy Halloween, happy trick-or-treating, happy whatever it is you are doing, watching scary movies. It is a work night, and that sucks, but you know, you do what you have to do, right? So how's it been? How's your 31 days been? I know I'm not the only one who does it. Have there been any standout moments for you? I'm curious. Is there anyone I should go see in terms of 31 Days of Horror? Backlog it. Drop down links for me, or at least just drop down places I ought to go see and see certain reviews. But the one, the only, the classic, Halloween. It's really got to be seen every Halloween, right? And try it in black and white if you've never seen it in black and white. Sure, all the lights are off, except for maybe your carved pumpkin. Let that light illuminate your room as you watch Halloween 1978 in black and white. Or not, but gotta watch Halloween, right? I think it's probably safe to say it is the greatest running franchise in history. I love Phantasm, but Halloween really, in terms of its scope, its fullness, and all of the neat, interesting, there's something for everyone in Halloween. I think it's safe to say it's probably the greatest franchise ever, and it's not even close to being done. It will continue forward. Halloween will never die. As much as we heard that horrible, cringy line from the new trilogy, it will never die. Evil does not die tonight, okay? Evil is with us presently forevermore, be it in the real world or the world of Halloween. It ain't going anywhere. So I hope you had a great run. I hope you've enjoyed the October. I hope you enjoy your Halloween. And thank you for thank you for the support, for the subs, for the comments, for the views. It's most appreciated, as always. As always, we end these things off with Go Bills.
This is not a dream. Not a dream. We might be useful to